Hi, this is a reminiscence piece about a young boy and one afternoon growing up in a home in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. The title is Shakes. 3 stitches were working their way loose, the red strands disengaging from the dirt-stained horsehide. I menacingly tapped the unwieldy bat in the middle of the crudely shaped home plate. My brother, already stretching to 6 feet 3 inches at a mere 14 years old, loomed toweringly close from our makeshift mound. The crunch of tires on the gravel driveway preceded the nose of our ancient Hudson as it announced our parents' return from the local A&P market. "That's not a hardball you're using, is it?" Mother called through the car's open window. "It's okay, Mom," my brother replied. "Not if you break a window." "He's only 7. He can't hit it that far." Mother lugged the brown grocery bags round to the side mudroom entrance, her path approximating the warning track in left field. Her brief concern about the hardball was about as severe as her discipline could venture. She wore a patterned dress, circles and squares, and not being a church day, sensible shoes. The air around her always smelled of caution. Without straining imagination, the backyard of our modest Pawtucket bungalow was a miniature Fenway Park. A short wire fence in right field even had a strange rectangular depression running in front of its length like the bullpen in Boston. Right field was where a young Jackie Jensen patrolled for the Red Sox. Fresh out of college, where he had played football as well, Jensen brought some much-needed speed to the slow-footed roster. At our backyard ballpark, if the ball cleared the right field fence, it landed in the Olsons' yard. Most times, you just leap the fence and retrieve the ball, but occasionally, Charlie Olson would be out back wandering around. Charlie was a bachelor of indeterminate age who lived with his elderly mother and a spinster aunt. Our parents warned us to be nice to Charlie because he had the shakes from the Korean War. A more thorough explanation of shakes would have reduced the youthful, unnecessary fear I had of Charlie. His hair was a burnt orange, fringed with premature gray. Was the gray caused by something horrible he'd witnessed in a battle? When he spoke, which was not often, his voice had a quiet hesitation. You needed to lean closer, not a viable option for me, to catch the end of his sentences. His blue eyes would look past your right shoulder as he surrendered the ball back over the fence. Father had noisily popped the Hudson's hood and was peering incomprehensibly into the maze of mechanical pots that powered the beast. Steam hissed menacingly as it escaped from around the radiator cap. Soon I knew Father would be pouring a Clorox bottle full of water into the radiator reservoir, forestalling, for a bit, another roadside catastrophe. Father's confidence in his mechanical abilities never came close to matching reality. The Hudson was parked in the center field triangle. At Fenway, this region was owned by Jimmy Pearsall, who was battling his own delusions. Pearsall, along with Jensen, the only speed the Sox had, played an extremely shallow center and loved to race to the 400-foot mark to snag long drives in full stride. I wondered if his mental problems were anything like Charlie's shakes. My brother teasingly twirled into his windup, all spindly arms and legs gyrating, hiding the release point of the ball. Yet I trusted that he wouldn't throw the real heater towards his little brother. The exaggeration motion was all show, comic relief. The final, most critical detail of our homegrown Fenway was the left field wall. The green monster in Boston was replicated at the back of our simple bungalow house. It loomed over our little yard and our imaginations. Father had painted the house green, and I never dared ask why, fearing he might change his mind and desecrate it with a cream or brown do-over. The only spoiler to the image was a 6-pane window which brought light to our kitchen table. The sextuplet squares glinted in the sun as I squinted, trying to decode my brother's delivery. Of course, at Fenway, left field was reserved for Teddy Ballgame, Theodore Samuel Williams, the greatest hitter of his era. I would sometimes try hitting lefty in vain to emulate number 9's perfect assault on the ball. But from that side, I had a hitch in my swing you could tie 6 horses up to. Ted Williams, a boy's hero in so many ways. Just returned from the Korean War, his second stint of dangerous duty as a fighter pilot. I could never envision Ted with the shakes. My brother's arm finally reappeared from the whirligig of his windup. He released the ball with a sidearm delivery, the seam spinning crazily as it headed in my direction. I fought my youthful habit of flinching and squeezed the bat tightly, my weight on my back foot. The pitch looked to be about belt high, an orb hurtling towards destiny. I cocked my wrist for extra power and shifted my weight forward as I brought the bat level. Crack! The sound was noticeably different, more violent than anything I had generated before. The ball recoiled off the meat of the bat at an alarming rate. Not my usual squibbler to third or pop up to the mound. It was my first line drive, and it was headed for the green monster. More precisely, it was headed, unerringly, towards the shimmering glass rectangle in the center of the wall. I watched, mesmerized, as the blast neared the house. The left pane, middle row, imploded into our kitchen. A round hole with spided hair magically appeared. Charlie, browsing in his garden, ducked instinctively at the explosion. My brother put his gloved left hand on top of his crew cut. What the heck? My father asked as he backed into shallow left field, looking to his left. I stood frozen at home plate by a mixture of fear, pride, and amazement. I'm sorry, Dad. I never thought he could hit it that far, my brother said, gallantly falling on his sword for me. Quite a poke, my father mused. Guess I better head to Bunting's Hardware to get some glass. The door to the mudroom creaked open, then clacked shut. My mother turned the corner, coming into view with the offending ball held like a bomb in her right hand. Can't hit it that far? She mimicked to my brother. This time he feigned invisibility. The Hudson roared to life, stealing our mother's attention. Where is your father going? She warily asked. To Bunting's for some glass, I offered. Great. We'll wind up with 6 broken panes, she sighed, tossing the ball back towards the mound. I exhaled for the first time in what seemed like minutes and decided that this disaster would not, in fact, be the thing to give me the shakes.